Cześć, it's Michalina from Coffee That Gives It Back. I signed up for a national coffee competition, the AeroPress Championship to be precise. And it was supposed to be happening last weekend. Because of the outbreak of COVID and another lockdowns and restrictions being back again, the competition got rescheduled for a few weeks further in the future. That just gives me more time to freak out about it. The rules for the competition are pretty simple. You get the coffee, you make it according to the recipe that you think works the best for the coffee. So you check your water temperature, grind size, ratio, all the other things. And then judges taste the coffee and tell you which one is the best. Easy. The competition is happening in Auckland, so North Island. I'm in Christchurch, so South Island. For me to have chances to prepare the recipe that will work exactly same here in Christchurch as it will be working in Auckland is to make sure that I not only check the grind size, the ratio between coffee and water, the water temperature, but also the water quality. And since I'm in the middle of checking my options, you're gonna check one option with me. Honestly, the water quality, what type of water you're using for your coffee, is very important part of the coffee preparation. Just think about it. 98% of your brewed coffee consists of water. Depending really on what type of methods are you using for your coffee preparation, you're gonna have less or more water, but what is dissolved out of the coffee is just a few percent of actually coffee compounds, and the rest is water. So it's pretty logical and very, very safe for your health not to use for anything water that stinks, water that doesn't smell like nothing, because that's really what you are looking at water. You don't want it to smell like anything. Or if you see that it's not crystal clear, you better avoid it. But just because the water, by judging it visually, looks very clear, it doesn't mean that it has nothing in it. There are plenty of minerals in your water that are not visible to your eye, but trust me, they can either help you making delicious coffee or they can completely ruin it. You don't really have to be a scientist to know that all the waters from different sources, different regions, could taste differently. How often does it happen to you that you're going to visit your family member in different region, or even sometimes it's just different district? They make you a coffee or just any drink and it really doesn't taste as you remember that it's tasted in your home. Or you are going to a cafe or a restaurant and with everything that you've ordered, they also give you a glass of water. And you could probably tell the difference between that water and the water that you had in your glasses last night in the restaurant that you went to. The water consists of many minerals, and the combination of those little minerals is what has a massive impact on the taste of the coffee. Well, not only coffee, everything. Water flavor can be affected by many factors, such as what was the source of your water? So where was the spring coming from? The spring that was a beginning of the journey that your water took from there to your cup. So I'd say that would be natural water content. So how deep the water was, how long it was staying there, through what kind of rocks, built of what kind of minerals it went. The water flavor can be also affected by the condition of the pipes that lead to your house from the source of the water, or the way how the water is treated, because it's good that it's treated, otherwise there is a risk of contamination. You really don't want to drink the water that has some pathogens or germs in it. But if they use, for example, chlorine to treat that water, it will actually have a significant impact and the water flavors change. If we wanted to go really, really deep into the water science, we would also discuss a matter of total hardness of water. I believe most of you are familiar with the terms of either hard or soft water. Very simply speaking, that refers to the amount of minerals existing in water. And so the more of those minerals there is, the harder the water. It is measured in ppms or milligrams per liter. And if you bought a bottle of water from the supermarket, you would very quickly find a label with the information of how much of each of the mineral there is in your water. And as simple as it is to check the mineral contents in the bottle of water bought in the supermarket, it's not really that easy to find that out in your water, in your house, in your tap. But there is plenty of options to check whether your water is hard or soft. One of the options is to check if maybe your city council informs you about the researches done on water in your area. Quite often it's published online and it's very simple to go and check. You can also do it on your own. There is many options for buying kits that are designed to check your water quality. If you did that, you would very quickly find out that the calcium and magnesium are the most hardness affecting minerals in the water. But why am I telling you this? Why do I think that it might be useful for you to know in terms of making the coffee? You don't necessarily have to sign up for coffee competition to pay more attention to the water quality. Imagine this, you are in the coffee shop, they make you V60, you love it, you buy the same coffee, you even ask them for the recipe, you make that coffee in home and it tastes totally different. Or you just bought a bag of beans because the suggestions of the flavor notes made you want to drink it. So you buy that coffee, you bring it home, you make a French press and you have really hard time getting those flavors now that the roastery suggested in the home. It might be very frustrating, very disappointing, and you might end up giving up on that particular roastery. Most of the specialty coffee shops or coffee roasteries, they make sure that the water quality stays on very high standards. So they are getting the best out of the beans with the help of water. They make sure that the water is not either too hard or too soft. Both of the ways are not too good. The too hard water means that there is too much of the minerals in your water. So imagine like there is so many things floating in your water, you can't see it but they are there, that if you extract your coffee there's not enough room for the coffee compounds to get into the water. So the coffee might not be just simply fully extracted. Moreover, the harder the water, the bigger the chances for getting your equipment covered with limescale. So if you have it already in your kettle, this is your sign. However, if you brew your coffee with water that is too soft, your water will be tasting too sour. And you've probably heard of pH. That measures the water's ability to neutralize acids. It revolves around carbonates and it can be measured in the scale starting from 0 going up to 14. On that scale, number 7 is described as neutral. Anything that is above 7 is described as alkaline, and anything that goes below number 7, so 0 to 6, is to be said acidic. That is very much correlated to the total hardness of water that we were just discussing, but it's not the same thing though. And if it's too high, it contributes to the build-up of scale. And if it's not high enough, it makes your coffee tasting quite flat and empty. Trying to present it to you in the simplest way possible, because who wants to listen about water chemistry when you think you sign up for Coffee Channel? Seems like some kind of black chemistry magic. Also, I think my brain is a little bit too small to make it all clear in very short time. In any time, to be fair. This can be a deep science. And if you feel like this is something you want to discover more, feel free to check the Specialty Coffee Association researches that I'm gonna leave the link to in the description of the video and dive in. Although it might be a little bit overwhelming for someone who is just discovering specialty coffee, and I'm not gonna be telling you all of this knowing that it's actually quite difficult to comprehend when you're just want to coffee. So here it is. The Specialty Coffee Association recommendation for the perfect water for brewing the coffee. Now, even if you went this far to check your water quality and you want to achieve the water that is recommended by Specialty Coffee Association, there's quite a few options for you. It really depends on your own craziness and how far you want to take it. You are probably familiar with one of those. So you pour the tap water into it and you filter it, you wait for it, you get rid of, for example, the chlorine pretty well, but it doesn't really affect the hardness of the coffee. So what you can also do is to check your pH, check your hardness, check the amount of minerals in your water and what kind of minerals, and you could install the system that balances the water out. So depending on the type of the water, you would adjust it with the system installed in your water system at home. Systems like reverse osmosis, that is used in many coffee shops and roasteries around the world, work really well. They do the job of filtering the coffee, of softening it, but you can get the water that is a little bit too pure. And to avoid that, you could add some ions to your water again. So you add some minerals to it, and that might seem like a lot of work. I'm fully aware that not many people would be probably willing to go from making the coffee with tap water to this kind of level, fixing the water quality. So there is an easier solution. You can simply buy bottles of mineral water in the supermarket. You can just check the ideal ppms that you think could work for your coffee, and you buy that water, you brew it, you enjoy the coffee, but I'm having a really hard time advocating for it because it creates waste. There's many benefits because you probably have very easy access to the water that you choose in many places in your country. You can repeat the water taste no matter where you are, pretty much, but it's so wasteful. Most of the water still comes in plastic bottle, and I am a big fan of avoiding the plastic as much as possible. So I have this dilemma of whether I should recommend it to you or not, but just so you know, it is an option. But if you're willing enough to try to find the water that comes with glass bottles or bottles that you can easily compost, you're the man. But now, onto the option that Michalina was checking. You buy sachets of minerals, you combine them with dissolved water, and that does the job. You can either create your own mixture of different minerals, as long as they are food grade and you know what you're doing. You can experiment with this a little bit, and you can also do your own distilled water. That's also not very environmentally friendly, but it is an option. Or you can just simply reach out to Third Wave Water. It's not an advertisement, they have no idea that I exist. That's something that I wanted to try, something that I wanted to check, if I'll be able to tell the difference between the tap water and this. So let's go! I didn't need much water for my experiment, so I just took one sachet, and according to the instruction, I needed to dissolve it in 1 gallon of water, which is exactly 3.785 liters. So this much. I prepared a table for combining everything together. Once I opened the sachet, I transferred it into the glass. According to this book, it is recommended to dissolve it in warm water, so I transfer a little bit of distilled water and let the water boil. This is how the mixture of minerals looked like. And dissolving it took a good few minutes. Just wanted to make sure that all the little particles of minerals are fully dissolved. Then I transferred it all into the big pot and mixed it through again. While I was waiting for water to boil again, For my little test, I grind coffee for 3 different glasses. In 2 of each, I wanted to use a tap water, and the one that you see to your left was waiting for the mixture of the water that I just prepared. All 3 glasses had exactly same coffee in them. Really, the only element that would make the coffee tasting different would be a different kind of water. I poured the filtered water into the glass number 1, and then I brewed the coffee with the tap water next. Even just by looking at the coffees, you can see the difference in the way how they were extracting. The one to the left looked different than the 2 to the right. I gave those coffees time to extract, and I started my tests. What? This one is so much more intense. This one has way heavier body. It's definitely richer in flavor. The difference is undeniable. The cooler it gets, the differences are even bigger. I'm surprised. This is amazing. 2 different coffees. And I know these coffees. This is something that I was buying regularly from the roastery that I really like, and I enjoyed the coffee. Maybe I don't necessarily use the tap water. We've switched to a different filtering system in our water system, so we have separate tap for water that is a little bit better quality, but this one is even more impressive than I thought it will be, and I know that I will be using that for the competition 100%. Happy! Maybe that seems like a little bit too much of an effort. I know that you don't necessarily have to have time. It still creates a little bit of waste, but like any other method. So I can 100% recommend this. If you feel like you can sacrifice a few minutes in one day to have so many liters for next few weeks. But there are other options. And now it's just up to you which one you're gonna take. And I hope you will choose one, because the difference is amazing. You will definitely enjoy your coffee more, and you will have repeatable results. That's even more exciting. You don't necessarily have to sign up for the competition to notice that the water matters so much. There is not only the quality of water that I would recommend to pay attention to when brewing a coffee. If you want to know what else you might do to make your coffee tasting even better, subscribe to my channel, or you can like the video or leave a comment below. That would be amazing. I would really appreciate that. That way the videos could reach to more people, and more coffee lovers would be more familiar with specialty coffee industry. So let's bring it to the big audience. Peace and coffee.